You're listening to Travel Michigan. I'm Dave Lorenz, along with Michelle Grinnell. And Michelle, we have time to talk to one more guest.
We do. We are talking with Jim Johnson, who's the Senior Manager of Creative Programs at the Henry Ford. So, Jim, welcome to the show. And this whole show, we've been talking about getting into the holiday spirit, and you guys have a great, I'll call it event, for lack of a better word, because it goes for an extended period of time at the Henry Ford, which is holiday nights at the Henry Ford. So tell us a little bit about that.
Hello. Yes, we have. It's really a pretty remarkable event. We have 14 evenings that begin on December 6th, and then on select nights through the 28th, a couple days after Christmas too. But we have a rare opportunity here in Greenfield Village to sort of set the stage to really immerse people, send them back in time as far as the way the holidays might have been celebrated 100 years ago, 150 years ago, even 200 years ago, if applicable. We're able to do that in Greenfield Village, and with its amazing outside setting, it's a huge environment, and it literally, in many cases, is like stepping back in time.
So, the way Greenfield Village is laid out, there are a variety of buildings and set at different time periods. Do you kind of set the entire village at, for one time period, like for 1850, or are there different settings according to the buildings and in the years they were built?
Each sort of stands alone. We have sort of certain areas that we're able to sort of theme sort of to one particular time period. For instance, our little urban area, which we call our Main Street District, is set probably about 1915 or so, just prior to the World War I, or right in that era of sort of what a little urban stretch may have been like during the holiday times. We have our fleet of Model Ts are running during the evenings. You can catch a ride on those, but they buzz right through the Main Street area. We have food vendors up and down the street, live music up and down the street. We actually have put up a screen and show early silent movies on the side of one of the buildings. And there are, everywhere you look, are bonfires, places where you can sort of tuck up and warm your toes and your fingers as you make your way through the village. Once you leave the Main Street area, things quiet a little bit, and we sort of go back into the 19th century, working our way down to customs that existed in the 18th century or did not. That's the story we tell about areas of this country where Christmas was not celebrated, and we have folks that will tell you about life during that time period as well. So you sort of make your way through really almost 300 years worth of Christmas history as you make your way through, but it's really fun. It's a really festive atmosphere.
We're talking to Jim Johnson, Senior Manager of Creative Programs for the Henry Ford. And Jim, tell us about the live musical performances. I know there are a variety of them.
Yes, we have lots of different quartet singing groups that come in and really perform your traditional carols. That's the main thing that we focus on. Music that was popular for the holidays up through the early part of the 20th century. We also featured the Dodworth Saxhorn Band, which is based out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, and they play instruments that all date from 1880 on back to the 1840s. They're all made of brass. They're called saxhorns. The fellow that invented the saxophone also prior to that built these conical-shaped brass instruments, which have a super mellow tone, and nothing sounds better than some of the carols being played on a brass group like that. Then we have volunteer choirs that come in from all over the community that sort of sing on the street corners and different areas. So really, from one time, as you make your way through, as you're hearing music, about the time that music fades, you'll be getting into another area where more music picks up where that leaves off. So it's virtually all the way down to the very end of the village, where we have the First Michigan Fife and Drum group that comes in and plays 18th century drum and fife music down near the Daggett farmhouse.
Wow. Well, it sounds like fun. Well, one of the things I most like to do at Greenfield Village during the warm weather season is go in to see them make different glassware and the other artisans and what they do. Are they going to be doing any of that during this holiday time?
Yes, Liberty Craft Works is our craft area is open, and the glass plant will be operating. The big thing that they do during the holiday season is make our traditional candy canes. which we've been doing for many years here. And they do a sort of different color combination each year, and this year they'll be featuring that as sort of the highlight there, and it's kind of fun to watch. But the pottery, the brand new pottery will be open. We've just had a big addition put on that building, and that's going to be opening up for holiday nights. Our weaving exhibit is going. The tinsmiths will be busy. The printing operation will be going. And I think on several of the nights they're going to fire the wood kiln outside to fire some of the pottery, which is a kind of a spectacular sight with the flames shooting out of the top of the chimney. So that area of the village is also very busy for holiday nights.
You know, one of the things that I think is a great experience at Greenfield Village is the Eagle Tavern, and getting to go in and kind of experience a meal in a different time in a different place. And you guys have the holiday feast happening there this year, correct?
We do, and there's two seatings. There's an earlier seating and then a later seating. Those tickets tend to sell very, very quickly, so there may still be some available, and someone should check the website and call right away if they're interested in seeing what's still available, because those dinners are very, very popular. They're set in 1850 in the Eagle Tavern with a really wonderful, robust menu that's in there. But we also have a sort of a more simpler program for families called Supper with Santa, and that allows you early access to the village, and then there's a sort of family-oriented supper, and the Santa makes a visit from table to table in the restaurant there, and about the time you're finished, you can go out and then experience the program for the evening. So that's a fun thing for families to do as well, and that's also available. You can check it out on the website to see what tickets are available for that.
I always hope that they're serving up their chicken fricassee whenever I'm there. Boy, that stuff is really good.
Yeah, that's one of their signature dishes.
It's fantastic. Well, any other food options available during the holiday nights at the Henry Ford?
Yeah, we do some really fun stuff. Our food folks get excited about this time of year, and have developed some fun stuff that people can sort of get as they make their way through on the streets. We've got a signature roast beef sandwich that's carved right from the roast over the fire, and they carve it right there and serve it right there. New this year, they're also going to be roasting a fresh ham with a plum sauce sandwich. That'll be done around the corner from where we're doing the roast beef. You can get roasted chestnuts off the street. And this year, another new thing we're doing are sort of individual-sized plum puddings that you can get, and those will be warm with a warm sauce on them. And we've all got to already test these, and they're outstanding. So that's going to be, I think, a really big hit this year, especially the new plum pudding.
Well, Jim, I know you mentioned Santa Claus, and he'll be there certainly during the event days. But is there like a grand arrival, and then where might people find Santa Claus in the village during the holiday nights?
Santa actually makes his arrival for the folks down at the Supper with Santa, and then he makes his way down to the Frost house. That we have a balcony up on the house, and he sort of holds the audience up there, along with some of his reindeer will be on hand as well. And Santa, while he's there, has the ability to sort of pick out children in the crowd and know them by name and sort of talk to them. So it's kind of a fun thing that the kids get to do while visiting Santa. It's not sort of the individual audience with Santa. It's more sort of a group thing, but it works out really well for the number of folks that we have, and people seem to enjoy it very much.
Of course, people are going to be very busy with the holiday nights at the Henry Ford over at Greenfield Village, but are there any things that people might want to take note of happening at the Henry Ford or at IMAX during the holidays?
Yes, we always, and again, check the website for the specifics, but each year we do a special showing of the Holiday Express.
Polar Express,
yeah. That's it, yeah. And this year we have a fun Avatar exhibit that's in our special gallery that was put together by James Cameron. It's really kind of the science behind the Avatar movies and the things that were done. So.
Well, of course, there's so many things to do at the Henry Ford in Greenfield Village, and during the holiday nights at Henry Ford, you'll want to be there. Select days between December 6th and the 28th. And I want to thank Jim Johnson, Senior Manager of Creative Programs at the Henry Ford, for joining us today. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's program, and we thank you for being here. Invite you to join us next week. Want to thank Mark Blackwell for engineering today's program, and on behalf of George Zimmerman back at the office and Michelle Grinnell and myself, again, thank you for being here. We'll talk to you next week on Travel Michigan, where your trip begins at Michigan.org.